Hey guys, Rick here. I want to talk about change, mentoring, and iteration. So as you might have noticed, I got a white background behind me. This is the first time in my entire life I've got a white background behind me. And it should be mostly, 98%. Some of you purists out there will be like, it's not exactly white. I know, I'm working on it. And so I want to talk about change. Normally I've had my blue background because that's what color the wall was. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks pretty clean. It's not too bad. Blue's kind of my color. It's kind of my brand. But it doesn't look as good as white. It's not as crisp as white. I'm looking to work with someone at the moment. We're looking to do videos together. He's doing white. So I'm like, cool, you know what? I am going to embrace change. I'm going to paint the wall. Got some paint, done. Just like, bam, straight into it. Painted the wall and white. Yeah, it's not too bad. But it is change. And I had to get my head around that. And it relates to the way we make games as well. Sometimes you're on a focused path. You're saying, okay, this is how the game's going to be. It's going to be the greatest darn FPS ever. People are playing your game. They're like, you know what, man? You might want to consider having a different background in your game because it doesn't look so good. And you're like, how dare you tell me? I've worked hours on that background. So sometimes you just have to get there and be like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to give it a shot. And that's my third point that I introduced, which was iteration. And iteration is you got to try things. Maybe you guys will watch this video, and I love when you guys give me feedback. You write in the comments, it's great. Rick, you're awesome. Rick, you suck. I hate you. Everything is useful for me to take into consideration, except the, I hate you part. Don't write that. But when you guys look at this, you might say, you know what, I like the white, keep going with it. You might say, you know what, I like that blue one better, in which case I'm kind of screwed because I don't have any blue paint. I don't know if I can wipe all this white stuff off. Oh, that's an interesting effect. But iteration is you try it and you try it. In your game, try it out, just give it a shot. What happens if I turn all the tuning variables up by 100? Like, not just a little bit. I've seen a lot of people when they tune, they're like, let's go from 28 to 29. Like, go from 28 to 3,000 and see what happens. You might be surprised. Sometimes there's some really cool effects that happen. So embrace iteration. Change your game. Change your process. Change who you work with. Mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. And the second point that I introduced, which is now the third point, which is work with a mentor. So the guy who said, you know what, make your background white. I'm like, cool, this guy is succeeding at doing what he's doing. I'm going to see how that goes. I'm going to embrace that input. When I work with people and I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe you should try this way of doing things. The people who succeed are the ones who are like, yep, let's give it a shot. And then assess whether they think it's working for them or not, rather than assessing whether it's working on paper. And this is game design with an iterative philosophy as well, isn't it? That if you try to design your whole thing on paper, the 100-page design document before you even start, you're going to fail. Because you're thinking about it in your head, you got to see it. You got to, how does this darn white background look? You got to check it out. And so people who embrace that input, embrace the feedback from a mentor or a guide or a colleague, I think get there faster, make less mistakes, make the right mistakes, and move forward with velocity. So they're my 3 points that I didn't do in the right order. Change, you know what? Look for it, embrace it, give it a shot. What harm can it do? The third one that I talked about, iteration. When you're working on your game, change it, work on it, tune it, play around with it, make it better, get feedback from people. And you know what? Find people who have done it before. Talk to them, get their input, ask them some questions. You should be firing out questions all the time. Hey, how'd you do this? What do you reckon about that? What's your advice for this? And get that input and steal the wisdom from other people. So just a quick one for you guys today. I hope your games are going really well, and I will see you in the next video.